Okay, what's up, guys? We're going to be looking at the new patch that just came out. It's 7.35B. So this will be a short follow-up video to the last one where we discussed the whole of 7.35A, I suppose. And it was a pretty crazy patch. As a small reminder, I thought it would be a circle patch. I thought it would be about Shivas. I thought it would be about bloodstone and solar crest as well. Well, that ended up being pretty true. I think everybody could see that from the stats alone, from the numbers. But an unexpected thing was the weird thing with the Khanda, I think it's called. The thing. Let me scroll down real quick. Yeah, there it goes. Like the phylactery Khanda thing, where it doesn't proc on cast anymore with Spear Breaker. That was a cool meme where you could like do damage to somebody else across the map with your right clicks. It's kind of stupid. But they've changed a couple things in the patch, so let's dive into it and do a little prediction game of what heroes will be meta now, which heroes got shafted, like what will be the offlane meta. First off, we have Bloodstone, where Blood Pact no longer restores mana. That is kind of crazy. So it used to give you mana at the same rate that you got health, basically, if I recall correctly. So, holy moly. Like, we made a Bloodstone tier list a couple patches ago. Basically, Leshrac, still gonna buy it, but he needs other mana items now. Whereas Zeus probably doesn't buy it anymore because he bought it for the mana, I feel like. And of course, a little bit for the health because of his ultimate and stuff. Like, if you got an early Bloodstone, he could farm super fast. And also, he had like that burst heal from using his ultimate. And then he would get mana again. But now, it would only be good-ish as the burst heal, just not worth it. So Zeus doesn't want to buy Bloodstone anymore. I think Sand King and Pudge still want to get Bloodstone for their AoE magic damage and the health that it gives them. But Storm Spirit, again, like, doesn't care about it. He just wanted it for the mana. I mean, he has Witchblade now and stuff, so it doesn't matter. Then we have Medusa. I mean, she just wanted the mana. Beastmaster is still okay, but kind of appreciated the mana. Timbersaw would like the mana as well. Razor, I think, like, the health is nice, but he needed the mana as well to farm. So Bloodseeker, I think, mostly wanted the health, so it's still fine on him. Bristleback mostly wants the health, so it's still good on him, and he also got a small buff. Underlord mostly wants the health, so it's decent on him. Tinker only wanted the mana, so it doesn't matter, and all the rest of these weren't already buying it anyways, so I mean, maybe Viper can still buy it, but an Axe, like, in the games where you buy them, then sure. But, like, I think these other heroes just want the mana, and these Dagon tiers don't even ever want to buy it. So that's my Bloodstone tangent. I think it's a little weird to just take away all of the mana, because now this basically means you need a Soul Ring with this, instead of just getting mana from it, which gives you slot issues later. And the item isn't good enough, I feel like, for just this. Like, I guess that so much spell lifesteal is still very, very, very strong. And it gives you a lot of health and mana. And the AoE bonus is interesting. We saw an immediate Leshrac ban just to make sure that it wouldn't be OP, and it was still effing annoying. Like, just having those big circles just being spammed with Octarine, like, and Shard, like, just super big circles of his first spell, his Q, I don't know, Earth Spike, I think it's called. That was just dumb, but yeah, I mean, if you say Bloodstone, you think Leshrac, so of course they thought about that. Sand King also got preemptive nerfs on his AoE of Sandstorm, rightfully so, I think. But that kind of means that now you have to buy Bloodstone to get back to their old power level, which is kind of like Sand King doesn't even buy Bloodstone in half his games because it's just barely doesn't have enough impact, or you really have to just rush it. And then now it also doesn't give you mana, so you can barely just, you can't afford to rush it. Also, you can't disassemble your Vanguard and Mana Boots into Bloodstone anymore. Like, you know, kind of the same as Octarine, right? But that Octarine core nerf basically indirectly nerfed Bloodstone as well. And they're treating it as if it hasn't gotten nerfed. So Bloodstone, pretty hard hero to hit, or pretty hard item to use right now. And that makes me think that, like, Leshrac, I basically don't want to play him offlane right now. I don't know about the rest of these. Like, there's going to be some Shiva nerfs. I don't know about Death Prophet. I'll think about it. But the Solar Crest Rush thing just completely doesn't exist anymore. Okay, we'll update that at the end of the video. So Eternal Shroud got nerfed. So the stack's duration got decreased, which is pretty hefty, I feel like. I haven't been seeing this a lot in my games, and I think the item is good. I think it's really good with heroes that do self-damage, like Pudge. What's his name's Bloodseeker. I guess it's decent on Centaur. I don't think Tuskar or Huskar will ever buy this, but you know, which made it kind of cool, kind of value, but it's pretty short duration. But 6 seconds probably still good, and just having that extra magic resist is pretty sick. I don't know if it's just an additive sum where you could have 6 charges of 4%, which means it can be 26% on top of the 25 that you get. If that becomes 51%, that's kind of crazy. 51% magic resist from an item? That's crazy. That's honestly kind of crazy. Now, Helm of Iron Will got nerfed, so this was basically the new Vanguard for most offlaners again. We've seen it before, and now we see it again, where Helm of Iron Will used to be the same stats, but cheaper. Then it got more expensive, and now it's more expensive, but also has lower stats. So this is the second time, I think, that Helm of Iron Will has been nerfed. It used to be with the armlet builds, where like Mars and stuff would go armlet first, because Helm was just too good of an item for sustain. And most of the lanes we saw coming out of the safe lane were very harass-oriented, about like harassing you out of lane instead of like straight up killing you. And that is when Helm of Iron Will is insane. It's still decent, but you might need to buy like that extra set of tangos. You might need to buy that extra ring of protection, which is not weird because you need to buy Soul Ring now anyways. But it's definitely a pretty hefty nerf. I don't know if we can still buy this instead of Vanguard now. Vanguard has a pretty decent spot. Like, it's a very specific item. I think offlaners are still going to try because what's the thing called? The Veil of Discord is still a pretty cool item. Now we have Kaya Sange, so the spell amp on it got lowered, which I don't know about. Kaya Sange is just a super good item. I was also buying it on heroes just to amp the spells more. Like, I was buying it on Underlord, and like you could buy him Pudge, those type of heroes. It's probably still good. Like 12 spell amp is still good. I like the Mage Slayer buff. It went from 35 to 40, so that's a lot of spell damage debuff on an item, which I think it needs to kind of like make good on the investment that you make into it, because it's a 2600 item that doesn't build into anything. Like, it used to become a Bloodthorn, which we didn't use that much, but now you don't even get it from the Echo Saber like we used to. You just have to straight build into it. I don't even know what it's built out of nowadays. It's still the same, but the Oblivion Staff is now not part of the Echo Saber anymore. Manta got a small attack speed bonus, which is because the Yasha got buffed, which is interesting. I didn't think Yasha was a bad item. Yasha buff is kind of random. Yasha was already good. I mean, the only reason we weren't buying it is because of Solar Crest. But Yasha as a farming item still good. Meteor Hammer, I've seen this once on a Void Spirit. And that was pretty dope, but it's pretty hard to use. As you can see, it's mostly intelligence item now because Kaya's a part of it. You can probably buy it as an universal hero, universal spell-based hero, but I'm not sure who buys this. Like, I've seen Void Spirit as mentioned. I guess you could still get it on OD. Treant could get, but like, who gets this? Like, I guess you get this as a magic user when your team really lacks push. Preferably as a universal hero. But like, and it has all this amplification where mono region amp, spell dive steal amp, which means you still need the other thing. You still need to get spell lifesteal on your own. So I'm not sure who buys Meteor Hammer right now. I think you need a reliable setup for it, and you need to make a very good use case for all the other attributes that Meteor Hammer brings. I think the Meteor Hammer active is affected by its own spell lifesteal though, or spell amp. So in that sense, if you're already a hero that gets a little bit of spell amp, this can be pretty sick. Like, I can see this being somehow pretty okay-ish on Rubik because he has pretty high range, and as a 4, you could probably afford this. And then if your team just doesn't have any push, you can push from a pretty safe distance. Now, Pavis got nerfed because Solar Crest got nerfed, obviously. It's probably still fine. I kind of hate the build-up myself, but I mean, Solar Crest is here. It's 100% a support item right now, so. But it seems kind of rough to nerf it this hard because cores were buying it. Now, Sanchi and Yasha got buffed because the Yasha buff. Shivas got gutted a little bit. Now it's 16 armor. Is that more or less than AC? AC, where are you at? So AC gives 15 armor total if you count the passive aura. So now it gives 1 more armor than AC. And the all stats is down a little bit. I think Shivas is still good. Like, the buff from 15 to 20 armor was already kind of weird champ. I guess because you made multiple armor items that they felt justified in giving us more armor. Shivas is just still good. I think now offlaners will try to go Veil, and then they will hold off on the Shivas upgrade. They might get the plate mail, but they won't get the Shivas upgrade, which is like, the recipe is like, what, 1700? And you just don't get that unless you really need the Shivas aura, basically, which is a lot about heal, lifesteal, and regeneration. So if you don't need that in that game, or not as fast, you're just not getting it early anymore. You'll get the Veil, you'll maybe even get the plate mail, but then you won't get the recipe for a little bit. You might skip the recipe for like getting another item up before going back for the Shivas when you really need the backpack space. Solar Crest got hella gutted. You now need to pay 100 mana for it. I mean, it got gutted, but it was also just OP. And you can still self-cast it, but now it doesn't give you the movement speed and attack speed anymore. So you only get, if you self-cast, you get the HP barrier. Which is nice, mostly as a support that's getting killed. So Solar Crest is now basically 100% a support item. In my previous video, I said buy it as a 5, buy it as a 4, buy it as a 3. Now I think buy it as a 5, buy it as a 4, and probably don't buy it as a 3, but maybe. You still get movement speed. 4 armor is not bad. Like, you get a nice mana pool. Like, it could still be a pretty decent item on some heroes, especially if you just need that little bit of movement speed and you can't really buy a Yasha, but you don't want to use that game, or, it could be worth considering. But I don't think we're going to see it on core anymore. Now, Veil of Discord loses that 1 armor, but does keep the 5 health regen, which is why I think offlaners will try to finish their Veil of Discord a little earlier, or at least prioritize finishing it earlier than they did before, but they'll still buy it because it's pretty nice. Then we have Lads, which doesn't need a recipe anymore and can be disassembled. It doesn't disassemble into anything good though. Like, you can get the buckler out to get your AC slightly earlier. Like, if you have a Vlad on like Lycan, and then you disassemble your Vlad to get your AC 400 gold earlier, that's value. That's fucking value. And like, you don't get a Chrysalis when you're making a Vlad. Like, it's so weird. Maybe you get the buckler for the Greaves as well, like you're some Chen, and you get the Greaves, and then you rebuild the Vlads, and then you disassemble it again for your AC because your team needs it or something. Like, the disassembling can't really be abused, is what I'm trying to say. Not like Echo Saber or Arcane Boots or Vanguard or old Arcane Boots now. But it's nice to have Vlads a little bit cheaper. It's the same as Mage Slayer, where that item is cheap but doesn't build into anything big, so it's not slot efficient, so it needs to be gold efficient. And it's definitely more gold efficient now. Still that 4 armor, that buff you got a couple patches ago, and the aura is sick. Like, look at that, 18% bonus damage. That is almost an extra hero in your team, and this one works extra good with universal heroes. So I thought Vlad's was super broken when it was part of Helmdom 2 on Lycan and on other heroes that made Helmdom 2 and were universal heroes. So, for example, what's he called? Beastmaster as well. But the big thing for me was that Lycan has this passive where he already gives 40% bonus damage to everything under his control. And then you also get the Flats, which like stacks this bonus damage. And then you went Manta, which was a crazy universal hero item. And then you would have like 2 Mantas and Lycan himself just doing a bajillion damage. Which, sadly, we didn't get to see that in pro play, but it was pretty strong. It was more of a carry thing, though. Like, as an offlaner, it felt really bad to get a Manta. So, and usually in pubs, your team is fucking dumb, so they don't get any lockdown when you're Lycan. So you're like running around and nobody has an Atos, nobody has a blink. They're all like just have an Aether Lens or some dumb shit, and you're like, oh, please lock them down for 2 seconds so I can shred them. But instead, they just run away from you. Even though you're Lycan, right? You catch up with them, but then your whole team is out of position, so you still get killed or you have to run away again. It feels super bad to play Lycan in pubs, basically. And then the Yashakaya spell amp also got nerfed and the attack speed bonus buffed, so small changes to the items, where I think Solar Crest is basically gone from cores. Shivas Guard is not gone, but it's not like a super feels good item anymore. It's not an auto include. It's not a Solar Crest into Shivas meta or Veil into Solar into Shivas meta, but you can definitely see a lot of Shivas on your offlaners still. And we also have some hero changes. We have Abaddon, who is really annoying in lane right now. I think he's kind of shitty as a core, but as a 5, he has been really annoying. And they slightly nerfing his Curse of Avernus. I don't think it matters that much, but it's super value. If you can reliably click the opponent's offlaner or 4 in lane, then getting that damage on the Curse of Avernus was pretty nice, was pretty good trading. So a slight nerf, I think it's still good. Slight buff for Alchemist. Now, Beastmaster, his cooldown on the boar has been flat 30 now, or has become, which means you can have 2 boars at the same time. If you spam this off cooldown, you also always have 2 boars. You already had that before, but you have them a lot more now. If that makes sense. Like, there's no moment where you only have 1 boar because you're waiting on the cooldown. You can always have 2 boars. Which is a decent buff. Together with Primal Roar, like, they want to give Beastmaster some love. Now, there's one bug, or at least I think it's a bug, where Beastmaster, if you get Bloodstone, it doesn't affect the damage radius of the Drums of Slam, which is so stupid. Fix, Volvo, please fix. Bristleback, that's a decent buff. That's a pretty good buff, especially because Bloodstone is still relevant on him. I think that's a buff. I don't know if it makes him super playable again, but I think it's a decent buff. Crystal Maiden, okay. Dark Willow, 1 base armor, holy shit. This hero's gonna be crazy. Dazzle, Shadow Wave, I don't know. Dazzle's not a core anymore, so I guess they're back to buffing Dazzle support. Like, this is still good with, like, Skellies or illusions or that type of shit. Just summons. Death Prophet. The silence is a buff, I feel like, because silence stays a value point for most of the game. And then the Spirit Siphon nerf is just a nerf. We've been seeing a lot of Death Prophet because she's just very good with Shivas and the old Solar Crest. She's still good, especially because the game slowed down a little because of the gold nerf on neutral creeps in the A patch. So her pushing potential with her ult is a little bit better because the timings of the opponent carry, etc., they come online slightly slower. Elder Titan small buff. I think that's a nice quality of life as well. Not one right click wakes them up right away. Voiceless Void doesn't proc his time lock on denies anymore, and bonus damage has been reduced, so this is kind of, I don't know about this. This always looked weird to me, but sure. And this is just to, I feel like, counteract the fact that Maelstrom is now bonkers on him. It's so crazy good. But they actually nerfed time lock on both sides. I guess Mjolnir was just crazy on the hero. I've been seeing a decent amount of Faceless Void in my games. He looked fine, but apparently good win rate. Juggernaut, they're trying to make him viable. The mana cost is better, but the damage per tick also increased. Yeah, that's a buff, I guess. I don't know if it helps the hero, though, but it used to be that you just got... you would get stunned or slowed, and if Blade Fury was on top of you, you would die in lane. But nowadays, you just kind of walk it off as an offlaner. Now, Leshrac gets nerfed, even though they just nerfed Bloodstone, which is kind of weird. But the cooldown hasn't been increased. The Split Earth was being spammed a lot. The Aghanim's shard radius increase per strike has been decreased. So, really nerfing this because the Bloodstone exists, and then movement slow, being rescaled. The movement slow is pretty cool. That was a buff on Lightning Storm. So, I don't know. I don't play Leshrac, sadly. Someday, when they buff him enough and they don't nerf him within a week, I'll play him. We see lifesteal decrease on Lone Druid. Fuck yeah, this hero's annoying. Lycan, more buffs for Lycan. So, that's why I put him back into the fold, that maybe these buffs are enough. I'm willing to try it and just buy a casual Vlad. It might be good. Medusa Mana Shield. This was apparently some weird thing where Medusa just became unkillable. It was been fixed. Monkey King, big winner of this patch. Holy shit. He gets a base agi, which is nice because it gives attack, it gives attack speed, and it gives a little bit of armor. And also his soldiers in their Wukong's command just attack faster, or yeah, more often. I think that's just crazy good. Monkey King wasn't a bad hero, and now he's just slightly better. So he's happy. More fling, whatever. Pierce the Veil, like the Axe Shard going retroactively. I think they also did this for Legion a little bit further on. I think that's nice. Like Pudge gets that. So why don't other heroes get this retroactively? I don't know if it's good, but I like seeing Huerta 1 over Huerta 4. Guardian Angel, I already thought this shit was busted, but I didn't see it in pubs at all, and now it gets a small buff. A small Notice Me Senpai buff. Outward Devourer. That's a nerf. That's another nerf. Damn, I guess he was good. Damn, that's a lot of OD nerfs. I guess it was just a good hero, even though I feel like Meteor Hammer got nerfed, but maybe he still makes it. I haven't seen a lot of OD. I saw like one. So a random Pango buff appears, which is Pango's getting nerfed again and again and again and again. Where I feel like this hero is just kind of bad in pubs, but he seems solid in pro play. PA gets a bunch of buffs. I still hate this hero, but I guess she needed some. I don't know. I don't like PA as a hero. Rubik gets pretty big buff, where spell lifesteal cooldown has been decreased, especially level 1, 4 seconds. I think that's kind of cool. I like Rubik as a hero. Go make some Meteor Hammers, boys. That shit's cool. So they fixed the Spirit Breaker, Phylactery Khanda. I heard on the We Say Things podcast that you can still do the combo with Nature's Prophet, though, where you just get the Khanda and you just click the ultimate on global range on a hero. and you'll do a bunch of damage. Sven gets like random more strength on his cleave, cool. Some more range for techies, cool. Templar Assassin gets slight buffs, but the Psyblade range buff is pretty big, I feel like. Just straight up 50 range on everything. So Templar Assassin just got more range. So, like, sometimes she already seems kind of insane with Quiver, and now it's just slightly more insane. Terrorblade buff, I don't like that. I don't like Illusion Hero buffs, but sure. Terrorblade doesn't seem super oppressive right now. We see Timbersaw nerfs. I mean, Timbersaw's pretty good right now. He loves Shivas. He loves Spell Amp, so... And that's kind of what the whole meta was about, so small Timbersaw nerfs, not the weirdest thing. We see more tiny buffs, and these are quite decent buffs, right? Decent buffs. But I tried him before this patch, and he still felt like kind of shit. So I might try him like 1 or 2 more games in the offlane, which isn't really his key position. So I might not be good at judging that, but I felt like he was so bad. Like, I play him in the offlane where you just get the blink and the echo, and then you get like either BKB or you get axe or you get a blade mill, something to be tanky or to do damage to heroes nobody can hit. And then you would just have like a massive health pool and armor from your ult and your just passive, I think it's like 4 stat gain on strength. So you're super tanky is what I'm trying to say. And you have this AoE stun on 14-second cooldown. And you can redirect people, or what is it? Like, put them out of position with toss. So I feel like he's a good offlane hero. And he can hit towers as well, really well with tree. So I'm always like, oh, this hero is a great offlaner. And then he just kind of meh. So it feels the worst when you jump onto a support that doesn't have anything to help him stay alive. And he still survives. And then he just walks it off and you die. And you're like, okay, I just full comboed this ancient apparition, and he lived on 40% HP, and now he walks away. It's just feels terrible. Like, I like picking this against backline supports, and then sadly they just don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. Vengeance Aura was whatever. Viper got some nerfs. Viper seems really good. The ult on Viper is super good. Like, the ultimate was already good, but now getting the break component makes him so reliably strong. Like, it's kind of underrated how good break is, because usually you only buy it for like the most problematic stuff. But now, like, having it reliably, not like the Nether Toxin where you would just Timber Chain out of it, for example. Now you just have it on somebody for like, I don't know what the duration is, but pretty long. And so you get that reliable break super early. So Timbersaw hates you now. Instead of just being like, oh, you put down the Nether Toxin, let me get out of here. Like, I don't even think it's dispellable. So like, Viper's super high tempo, which is why they probably lowered the stacks on this poison attack Aghanim Shard, because if you were snowballing, you could tear down towers with it as well. Wind Ranger, 2 base damage actually. We've been seeing her in the carry role a little bit. I saw Nightfall played in the carry role for Bedboom, and I've seen it in my pubs a couple times, but I've been spamming Underlord, so I just fucking trounced her ass. And then Witch Doctor gets nerfed. Fuck you, Witch Doctor. If you don't do damage with your aura, I don't care. So it's a pretty small patch. So what does that mean for the heroes we're going to play? Now I put Sand King, Underlord, Doom, and Beastmaster in here, and Axe for the Veil basically, just because I wanted to go like Veil, Bloodstone, Shiva stuff, which I think they all do. I took Leshrac out at the start of the video because it was like, well, he needs the mana, right? I think Razor is kind of like, I'm still happy with Razor, but I'm not playing it because of the patch. I'm playing it because I'm good with Razor, right? That's a difference to me. The whole Solar Crest rush is gone. Can I delete this? Delete. There we go. Boom, it's gone. Because the Solar Crest is, you're not buying it as a past 3. Then we still have Pudge, but I'm just sucking so much dick with Pudge. It's kind of painful. Like, I want to be the fucking Bloodstone offlaner with Pudge, But I'm so bad with him. I'm just trying to go Veil into Blink, into Ags, but it's just like, if you have a shit lane, you're just so useless. And especially if you get Blink and it isn't helpful, then you just bought 2k of 0 stats as an offlaner, which means you will die very fast. And you're killing yourself with Rot very fast because you don't have any other item to nullify that damage coming in, and you probably don't have the levels either to nullify your self-damage with Rot, which means that you're only your hook and your ult, which means you have to land hooks all of a sudden, which just hurts. I think Axe Veil still interesting to try. I haven't tried it yet, but instead of Vanguard Veil, I think it's pretty good. His spins, I think, are pure, and they count as a spell, so I think, because Bloodstone also heals off it, so I think you'll do more damage with the spins, which is kind of what I'm going at there, because you don't do anything with the Vanguard afterwards anyways. So maybe it's good, right? This is kind of what I'm trying to find out. Is it good? And then he likes Shivas because of armor, and it's just a good item right now. I don't know. Maybe. Viper, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if I want to play Viper in the offlane right now. I don't really have a build for him. Like, you can go the Veil route and, like, try to be the magic damage dealer. Like, just go Veil, Ags into Bloodstone, maybe? Maybe with a Blade Mail in there? Let's just keep him in there. I want to try that. It's kind of weird to go, like, close range Viper build, but it might be okay. You would need something to give you health in there, but we'll figure it out. Maybe we get Sanchkaya. Lycan seems fine. I wanted Primal because he seems very good with the Veil, but I don't know. I'll keep him there, but I haven't looked at any videos or anything to learn him. So let me just put him all the way down. So melee heroes first, and then some ranged heroes. Ugh. I can't think of any new heroes because nothing significantly changed. Some heroes just got worse. Okay. Well, that's the patch wrap-up. That's 7.35b. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know down below what you think is going to be the new meta call. Cheers, guys. I'll see you in the next one.